Okay, in today's video, I wanted to talk to you about family investment companies, or FICs as they're more commonly known. I've had a lot of you actually asking me recently whether or not this is some kind of structure that we can actually set up for you. And the answer to that is absolutely yes, we can. It's not something that we do here in-house. We refer you on to our business partners for this because you do need specialist tax advice and you do also need legal advice, obviously, in order to set this structure up correctly. But ultimately, what is a family investment company? Well, you've probably actually got a limited company at the moment with, I don't know, let's say you've got some buy-to-let properties within your limited company. And let's say that limited company was worth about £2 million. So you've got your underlying investments down here. What we would then look to do is set up a family investment company. And with that family investment company, we would issue shares A, B, and C, the different classes of shares. So what we've got here, we've got mum and dad here. They set up this limited company down here. They're both directors in this limited company, and they've been buying properties over the years and renting them out, sort of thing. So the value of this now is, like I say, is £2 million. So with the family investment company, shares A and B shares here still have dividend rights and they still have voting rights. So they can still benefit from all of this. But ultimately what we're saying is that their shares will be frozen. So the magic happens with the C shares. The C shares normally get passed on to the children of mum and dad here, or they go into a discretionary trust or trusts, depending on the values, obviously. But ultimately what happens is then that any growth within this limited company down here ultimately ends up with the children. Yeah, it's the children's growth or the discretionary trust's growth. But what that means for mum and dad, so if we said, like for instance, we said that their estate value is £2 million. So the future value, the value at the moment is £2 million. It's all been valued and such like. We know the value is £2 million. So which means that we've got an inheritance tax liability here for mum and dad at the moment of £800,000. Again, there's things that can be done to potentially mitigate some of that as well. That's another video. So, well, all the growth. So now if mum and dad kept hold of this limited company down here, they continue to run it, they continue to grow the business as it were, and it increased by another £1 million. That £1 million ultimately would grow outside of mum and dad's estate for their own inheritance tax purposes. So now there's an additional, £400,000 worth of inheritance tax liability here, but this is all within the growth shares, whether that's given to mum and dad, whether that's given to the children, or whether that's actually given to the discretionary trust. Remember again, discretionary trust, we have that additional protection with the discretionary trusts, obviously. But again, there's nothing stopping you, if that's what you want, is to have those growth shares ultimately go into your children. But the bottom line is that the value is frozen from today's value for mum and dad, and the growth obviously happens in the C shares, whether that's to the children, whether that's to discretionary trusts. Hope that makes sense. If you need anything from me, obviously, email me the address above, and I look forward to speaking to you on the next one.